Kit Harington is here to give his thoughts about the end of season 8 of Game of Thrones. And this is kind of a big news.
It's
most
over.
Of the actors,
Why
most of the
are we
actors
talking about it?
Look, most of the actors stayed silent about how Game of Thrones ended. And so we finally, years later, while we're all enjoying or just finished enjoying season 2 of House of the Dragon, Kit Harington gets an interview where someone's asking him about this. Okay.
What was it? The hurried up and finished because they were offered a different role.
Yes.
They were offered a different show or something, but then it either got canceled or it was just a terrible show. I don't remember. Do you remember what they got offered after this?
Yes. So they were offered a potential Disney film or Disney Star Wars film to direct. All right. And once they hurried up and ended Game of Thrones, Disney pulled out the rug and said, never mind. That's exactly
Disney
what happened.
Wanted Game of Thrones to end so they could put some kind of Star Wars in the 9 o'clock slot on Sunday.
Well, they didn't like competing with Game of Thrones because it was so popular. All right. So in this article, he basically is doing an interview with somebody and someone asks him about how he feels, how Game of Thrones ended. Jon Snow's actor says mistakes were made. All right. I think if there was any fault with the end of Thrones is that we were all so effing tired. We couldn't have gone on longer, Harington said in new GQ interview about him joining season 3 of HBO's acclaimed franchise drama industry. Okay, so this is an interview for another show. And so I understand some people thought it was rushed, and I might agree with them, but I'm not sure there was any alternative. I look at pictures of me in that final season, and I look exhausted. I look spent. I didn't have another season in me. This is very interesting. I feel like this is the first time I've heard an actor talk about how they were tired. Like Peter Dinklage has made a few comments that insinuates that he wasn't happy with some of the decisions there at the end. But this is the first time I've heard an actor saying like, hey, mistakes were probably made. That's how the fans feel. But if we're being honest, I don't think I could have done any more. I was all done. And what the fans wanted was 2 more seasons after season 8, right?
Yeah, we've criticized Millie Bobby Brown a lot this past year because she did not want to come back for the last season of Stranger Things. And I'm putting Kit in the same boat as her. He was not I wouldn't say a kid, but he was pretty young in the first season. And there was a lot of actors that were young. You know, you had Bran, you had Arya, you had Sophia Turner. That's her name, right?
I believe so, yeah.
They were all kids on season 1, and now they grew up doing this show, and they want to just be adults. And so they are adults in the show, but they're tired. And so I know we give a lot of criticism to these actors, but I'm going to put myself in their shoes and be like, I understand what he was going through. As a fan, I'm disappointed, but as putting me in his shoes, I'm like, I understand, man. I'm here with you.
I don't have any contempt for the actors really. And I definitely don't. If they're tired, they're tired. I don't know what to say. It was a long time making the 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, and we got more good thrones than we got bad thrones. All right.
Yeah.
So I can't fault them for that. Here's another quote that Harington makes that I actually really respect, that he's the one saying this because right now in the fan opinion realm of movies and shows, they tend to call the fans names and say we're bad because we don't like something. But regarding the backlash to the series finale episode, Harington replied, everyone is entitled to their opinion. I think there were mistakes made story-wise towards the end, maybe. I think there were some interesting choices that didn't quite work. He's acknowledging that this was written kind of weird to end this epic story. And he kind of agrees that maybe it didn't really pay off the way that the way that the fans had hoped, and maybe even the way that he had hoped if he was a fan of a show that he starred in.
I have no opinions about it anymore. I liked the way it ended. I was a little disappointed, but I ultimately accepted it, and most people don't, and I'm ashamed because they don't accept the end. If you say that you like Game of Thrones in any way, you have to accept the end or you don't like the show. That's what I'm going to say.
Hold on. Hard disagree with this. Hard disagree. Yeah, that's crazy you say. You can be a fan of Game of Thrones and really not be a fan of how it ended. That is not you do not have to accept the ending, especially if you're a book fan, because the books are not canoned yet. They have not been penned yet by George Martin. So with that, I honestly think Kit Harington is pretty. He's extending an olive branch by saying, "Look, yes, it's been long enough. I can share some thoughts on this. I'm on new shows. I'm in new endeavors, and so I'm gonna let some people." I'll let the fans know a little bit of how I see it. Yeah, he does agree. There was some stuff that was written, some interesting choices that he thinks didn't. How did he put it? Didn't quite work. That's how he put it. Let us know what you guys think. I'm really curious about what you think about Kit Harington, what he had to say, how you thought about the end of Game of Thrones. Leave it in the comments. We can discuss more there.